What is up, yo? Hansa Teutonica? Bam! Alright, so what is going on in this most beautiful game? So every player is going to get a board like this, which is awesome. It's a cute little desk, right? And this is going to show you actually all of your different abilities in the game. And these cubes are actually covering over the abilities that you can increase. Every time you take a cube off of any of these from left to right, you're actually increasing your abilities, or tech, you could say. And down here, we actually have your traders and merchants. These are called traders right here. These are merchants. You don't even really need to remember that. But these are the ones that are actually going to be able to be used right away. They're kind of like, I picture them like your paid workers, okay? And these over here, they're not paid yet. You haven't paid them, so they are not ready to go to work for you yet. So what are you trying to actually do in this game? So what you're trying to do is build trade routes actually between cities in Germany, right? So if you look here, we have this right here. This is actually a city. This is a city and this is a city. Inside the city, we have offices. And on the trade routes between cities right here, as you can see, we have houses. Now, let's just take between maybe Göttingen and Quedlinburg. I'm trying to say that right, like German, but I don't know. Any German people out there, tell me if I've said that wrong. Quedlinburg, maybe. All right, so anyway, what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to be placing these traders onto these houses and trying to connect cities together to make a trade route, right? So for one action, I can take this one cube, say if I'm the green player, and put it right there, right? That's one action. Well, how many actions do you get per turn? Well, you look right here on your action track. And this is going to show you how many actions you get. During the game, you're going to be able to pull these guys off of here and get more and more actions, right? So let's say if during the game you're right here, we get 3 actions. Well, guess what? I can then on my turn, I could say, okay, for one action, I'm going to put this cube here. Another action, I'm going to put this here. Another cube there. So that's my 3 actions. That's my turn, and then the turn would go maybe over to blue, right? It would go to the next player, right? Now, what does this mean that I'm actually connecting these towns together? Well, there's different towns that have these yellow actual banners here, right? And you actually see the banner underneath is yellow. See, this is sort of more like a tan right over here. Minden is tan. Now, if you actually connect a trade route that goes to a town that is orange, like this one here, or this one here has this orange banner over here, they're very easy to see, you're going to get to raise an ability. So that's actually how you get to raise these abilities. Now, it does take one action to actually establish your trade route, right? So if on another turn, let's say if I had 3 actions, I would put these 3 down. On my next turn, I can spend an action and pull these off of here, right? And I'm going to take these and put them back here. They're going to go into my like sort of unpaid worker area. They're not ready to go and work yet until you pay them, okay? But I'm going to take these out. I'm going to put them here, all right? And then I'm actually going to get to increase this particular ability, right? This ability is my actions ability. See the little, he's carrying a letter or a missive. So that is my action. So I'm actually going to be able to pull one of these off, and I put it in. Actually, what's nice, every time you increase one of your techs, you pull it off and you put it into your paid worker. So this guy is ready to be used right here, right? Now, let's say I did the same thing over here where there's keys. Now this actually takes 4 traders here. Let's say if I put these 4 traders on here, and then I'm going to use an action, and I might not have put those all there in the same turn. Maybe I only had 2 turns last time by placing these here. Then maybe on my next turn, I have 3 turns. I'm going to place these 2 here, and then for my last action, I'm going to pull these all off, put them in unpaid, right? And then I'm going to get to increase this ability, which are my keys. And I'm going to take this guy off and put him here. So this very satisfying feeling of basically, you know, making these trade routes and increasing these actions. But it's interesting because what else you can do, let's say if I had my guys here and I was establishing this trade route right here, instead of actually one or the other, instead of taking this ability off, right? Let's say this is still on here like this. So I could choose to pull these off and increase this ability, right? But if I didn't want to, I can establish an office. Remember I said these were called offices here? What I could actually do is take these off, right? And with one of these traders that was actually on this route, I can establish an office right here. Because controlling these offices is very important to be able to win points during the game. So I could actually, say if I actually establish this trade route, for one action I can pull this off and I can put this guy right here. Right now I'm actually controlling this city right here, okay? Because I have an office inside the city. I'm the only one in there, right? So the city is controlled by you having first the most actual offices in here, or the rightmost if there's a tie, right? So let's say if blue, and by the way, this is a merchant. Now to get inside this space, notice there's a couple things you need to have to be able to get in here. First of all, this space is circular, so you cannot put, let's say if this route was taken up by the blue player and he claims this route, he can't put this guy in here. He would have had to have had a merchant on one of these spaces, right, when he claims this, to actually put his merchant in here, right? And so he did that. Okay. Now he controls, because we have the same amount in here, but the person with the rightmost office actually wins control, so he would have control. Then if I place this here, I would now have control again. So controlling the office is important. And why is that? Well, for one thing, now if I have an office here, or if I'm controlling this city basically with the office, the next time someone claims this, right? Let's say green wants to claim this to actually increase his action. He claims this, increases action. But guess what? Since you had this office controlled right here, I'm sorry, the city controlled with this office, you would actually get a victory point. So we would increase your victory points just like that. And that's actually a very good way of getting victory points in this game, because you'll see as this starts to fill up, you start to control more and more offices, but people are still actually, claiming these routes, and they're going to give you points. Now, it's also true if blue actually had, let's say if blue had a merchant on this side, right, and somebody claimed this right here, claim this, blue would actually get 2 points. It's actually a cool trick to actually claim, or to control cities on both sides of a route that everybody wants to get to. Now I said you have to put the right size, the right either square or circle in here. You also have to be able to have the right privilege, which has to do with these colors right here. Now notice this is a pink color right here, right? This office is actually pink. Well, if we had, now, and these also have to get filled from left to right, okay? You can't, so if there's no one there, you can't put this here automatically. You have to go from left to right. So say this one got here, say blue put this one here. Now green, now I actually claimed this route, so I'm like, oh, I want to do this here. Well, you can't, because I don't have pink privilege yet, and that's what this track is for right here. I only have white privilege. Now if I had pulled this one off and pulled this one off, now I have pink privilege. Now I can get into the pink, right? So you see why this is actually a very important tech track right here, because there's all different colors here, and you cannot get into these offices unless you actually have the proper privilege to put your piece there. So far, if you claim a route, you can either increase a tech or you can establish an office, one or the other. But the thing that you always do is if you establish a route where any of these bonus markers is, see, or bonus markers are, see this bonus marker, if I actually claim this route right here, let's say I claimed this route and I got into this office, just because I wanted to establish an office here. Now because I claimed that route with this bonus connected to it, I can actually claim this bonus marker. So I would put that next to my board just like that, right? And I would get to use this. These are like little actions you can get to use, and they're very powerful at any time during your turn. When I get one of these, I'm actually going to take another one from the supply, and I'm going to look at it, I'm going to put it on my plate, and when all of my turn is done, I'm actually going to take a bonus marker, right, that I took to replace the one that I took. I'm going to get a bonus marker and I'm going to put it anywhere I want. So it's really cool. I could put it pretty much on any route that I want. So this gives me 4 more actions during my turn, which is incredible. So if I only have 3 actions, if I want to use this, I can actually use 4 more actions. So what other actions can you do on your turn? Well, they're all mentioned right here, but I'll show you real quick. One thing you can do is, other than, like I had mentioned before, you can place cubes on the board, right? 1 cube per action. You can also bump someone else's cubes, and this is where there's a little tiny bit of take that in this game, and I don't usually like take that in games, like a malicious move that you can do, but it's not that bad in this game, and there's a penalty for you for doing it, and there's a bonus for the person that you did it to, so it's pretty cool. So let's just say that the blue player has a couple cubes right here, right? Well, you say like, well, for an action I could put a cube here, right? But what if I want to fill this up eventually for another action? What I could do is I can take one of my cubes, I'm the green player, right? And I can actually bump their cube out of there, right? So you say, oh, that's horrible, that's nasty. Well, it's not too bad because I have a punishment for having to do that. When I bump another trader, I actually have to move one of my traders from the paid to the unpaid area, right? So they're not going to be ready to work for me, okay? I got to get them back over, so I got to pay them. And I'll tell you how you actually do that. Now, so that was my punishment, and there's a benefit for the folks that get bumped, actually. So the blue player, this doesn't go back to their stock. They can actually place this on an adjacent route. They got bumped from here, so they can put it on any adjacent route around there, right? So, and the bonus is they get to take a worker from like an unpaid worker, right, and actually add it to this one, and they will get to place 2 there, which is really great. And then, I mean, it still is kind of a bummer to get bumped, but at least you have that sort of consolation prize there, where you get to place you know, an extra displaced worker onto an adjacent route. The other thing you could do is you can actually move around your pieces that are on the board, right? So if you have pieces that are on trade routes, right, not in offices, but on trade routes, you can move them from trade route to trade route. And how many do you get to move per action depends right here on this book. They call it the book track, right? So right now I could do 2, okay? If I have actually gotten a couple of merchants off of there, right, then I'd be able to move 4. Right? So let's say if this is the case right here, and I can move, right in the beginning of the game, I can move 2 for one action now. I can take both of these and I can move them, say if I wanted to move this guy into here, and then if I wanted to move this gentleman right here, I could do that, right? Another action you can do, which I alluded to before, was you can do sort of like a payment or a bag option, right? In the beginning of the game, I can actually move 3 of my unpaid workers over to paid workers, so I do it just like this. Whoop. And now these will be able to be used right away. So how do you win this game? Actually, like so many other Euro games, this is considered a Euro game. You're trying to get victory points, right? In this game, they call it prestige points, but they're victory points, and I'll show you how to get those right now. One way to get victory points is to increase your abilities all the way, right? So see this privilegium ability? If I took all these off here by going to this route, right, like I showed you, if you claim this route, you can, instead of claiming an office, you can actually increase this ability. And if I increased it all the way, took all the cubes off it, I would get 4 points at the end of the game for that, right? These are keys. We didn't talk about those yet, but same thing. If I took all those off, at the end of the game, you look at your board, and whichever one, like this one here, is completely all the way advanced to the end, you'll get 4 points. Now remember I said that if there is a bonus marker in an area, like say here, where you actually claim that route, you claim the bonus marker, and then during your turn you can use this bonus marker, like this one gives you 4 more actions. You flip it over and you save it, and you'll actually get, at the end of the game, you'll get points based on how many of these bonus markers you've saved up. Now remember I said you're vying for control of these cities. At the end of the game, you'll actually get 2 points for every city you control. Now probably the most interesting way to get points at the end of the game of Hansa Teutonica is based on your keys. Depending on how much you've developed your key technology, we'll say that I've developed it all the way to 3, right? You're going to get 3 points for your longest chain of connected cities, and the important part to remember is you're getting 3 points per every office that you have in those connected cities, right? So let's say if we're the green player, okay, and branching counts, so they actually, let's say if this is their longest chain of connected cities, there's a city here adjacent to this one, and this is adjacent to this one, right? So if they looked at the board and they see, oh, this is my longest chain of connected cities, they would actually get 3 points because of where their keys are for every one of these offices, right? So you'd get 1, if you count this, you'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Times 3 would be 18. If you finally got this one off, 6 times 4 would be 24 points you would get at the end of the game for all of your offices and your longest chain of connected cities. And you can get a lot of points like that, folks. All right, folks, so what do I think of Hansa Teutonica? I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Unbelievable, right? But it completely is. I absolutely love this game. I love everything about it. It is absolutely incredible. It gives you this just pleasant feeling of faction and pacification, when you are pulling off cubes and increasing all those abilities, when you claim a route, it actually just feels good. Like, finally I got enough traders up there and they're not getting bounced around by other players, and I can claim this route. And there's so many awesome decisions to be made in this game, right? When I claim the route, do I want to increase an ability, right? You know, like my privilege or my actions, or do I want to put someone in that office there? Because when I control that city, I know that other people are going to be actually, claiming a route that is adjacent to it, and I'm going to get my points from that, you know? I mean, it is just really, really fun. And the other thing about this game is it is elegant. I mean, I can't believe how well it flows, how much depth there is to this game. And there's like almost no components. Seriously, look at this game, folks. I mean, you get these boards, you got some cubes, you got these bonus tiles, and I think that's it. There's really nothing else. It's incredible, right? Compared to some of these games where you have so many components. I mean, this is just like a symphony of elegance, this game. It's very, very incredible and very, very minimalistic, I would say. And it's also very beautiful. I love the artwork in this game. Some people think it's bland, but I really love it. It has this, like I said, this sort of adorably medieval kind of artwork to it and look to it that I just think is wonderful. I really love it. The other thing that I absolutely love about this game is I would call this an open world game, right? Where you basically have no idea what to do in the beginning. It kind of just lets you do whatever you want. It doesn't tell you which way to go. It doesn't even give you, like a lot of games give you sort of these goal cards and things like that. No, this game, you are in charge of it from the very beginning. Like an open world video game, you can go wherever you want. You can explore the board and you can check it out and try different strategies every time. I'm telling you, this game, the freedom of it, from when you first start playing it and you're trying all these different strategies, you know, the way that you're, interacting with the other players in a really awesome way, just makes this game an absolute winner. Try it out. I mean, I am sure if you like Euro games, you will absolutely love this game. It's fantastic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, yo.